Hi everybody, Chris here from Truly Holistic. I thought I'd jump on a video here to talk about Tensor Technology. Tensor Technology, technology that I use at Truly Holistic to self-empower my clients. Now primarily I'm what would be considered a healer. So I call myself a quantum ascendance healer. And I know a lot of people throw that word quantum around, but in what I facilitate and provide is very specific to what is called quantum physics and quantum mechanics. So, that word quantum holds a lot of weight in regards to what Truly Holistic facilitates and provides, because we see quantum physics as really science that is bringing spirituality and consciousness into it, because science is generally a mind-orientated process. And of course, spirit is not the mind, okay? And what we essentially associate as the word spirit is you as a soul, okay? There's that old saying, right? We're mind, body, spirit. But what we've really come to find, especially through this aspect of what I also provide, which is called reality coaching, which is becoming more prominent in the way that I provide my healing methodology, is that we're not the mind, and we're not even the body. We are the spirit, authentically and infinitely. And when I'm referencing spirit, I'm talking about ourselves as a soul consciousness, because the soul is facilitated through the heart. That's how we even got here. When the embryos form, the first organ that's formed is the heart, and that is the very pathway that allows the soul to utilize that body, right? They're going to utilize what my soul consciousness would call an interface for a lifetime, which we call the body. So we're using the body as a vehicle to have an experience here, but it doesn't mean we associate it as ourself. Okay, it's the same with the mind. The mind is always trying to intrude with its thoughts and its mentalities, and it's there, but we don't need to embody it. We can just embody what we know we are, which is through the heart. And this is what we provide at Truly Holistic. And of course, this is also understanding, how reality is forged, why you're here, because you're here as a soul consciousness originally to expand your creation, expand yourself as a consciousness, which is to create reality. So, we're always creating. We're extremely powerful, and we manifest everything. That's a tap we never turn off. So you want to be aware of where your manifestation ability is going to, because you might be forging an experience, a reality that is perceived as everywhere I go, there's obstruction and block and congestion everywhere I go. And when we get deep into the session, we realize that your energy is all over that. Your energy is bound and connected to that. That's why it's there. So the reality, understanding reality, your role in reality is very significantly, very important, very pivotal in regards to yourself wanting to remedy or heal a health problem or a concern in your life. So that's become so important. But of course, this video is about Tensor Technology. And again, this is part of, that whole idea that client, that individual becomes as prominent and involved in their experience, their healing, as much as possible. So we're all about self-empowerment at Truly Holistic. Tensor Technology is a way that we can provide that. And why I want to do this video in particular is, a lot of the times when I am kind of letting people know about that aspect of Truly Holistic, right? The products that you can buy that self-empower you. There's a notion that people think all tensor rings are the same. And that's not the case. A tensor ring, yes, forms a tensor field. That's where there is a constant. Because that's how the technology works, right? The ring is a physical anchor for either a static frequency or a bunch of frequencies or spectrums of frequencies to come through. And, majority of the cubit measurements, which is what is a sacred measurement that after the wire's been twisted, it's cut to a particular measurement that then they brace together to create a closed loop, which we call a tensor ring. And that will dictate then what frequency comes through that ring, or a bunch of frequencies or spectrum of frequencies. So really the cubit measure for me is the important aspect of a tensor ring. And of course, there's many qubits out there. Now, a majority of the tensor rings out there are generally from Slim Sperling, who brought the technology to humanity in the early 90s. I think it was about 91. And that is the Sacred Rule Qubit, the Lost Qubit, and the Empowerment Qubit. And of course, there's a few others out there. But for the general part of those original qubits from Slim that brought through was the static frequencies, right? So we've got the 144 in regards to the Raw Sacred, we've got 177 in regards to Lost, and then we've got 188 in regards to the Empowerment. And what I really want to emphasize out there is that every experience you're having, every moment you're experiencing is not due to a specific static frequency. Okay, so life's not about a static frequency, a specific one, right? And for me, that's how we interpret it, understand it, at a mind thought mentality. And as I said at the start, we're not the mind. Okay, so for me, the mind is there to limit our experience, to confine our experience. When people talk about being caught up and locked into the matrix, right? They're moving the matrix and this aspect of a position where we can be easily controlled and manipulated. Well, that's the mind. The mind is the labyrinth, the maze that we're trying to find our way out of. The mind itself, it's not about controlling your mind. The mind is the controlling mechanism itself. So we want to get out of all the characteristics of the mind, which one of them is compartmentalization. And of course, when we are working with specific frequency or static frequency, that's compartmentalization. So that saying that, the qubit measures that you will find with the products, tensor rings that truly holistic, you will not find anywhere else. And none of them are a static frequency. They're all connected to either a bunch of frequencies, or especially our main qubits we use, which are associated to our element tensor ring set, which are a makeup of your infinite consciousness, right? The earth, element, air, water, fire, and ether. They are bringing in spectrums of frequency because that's a makeup of who you are. You're an infinite consciousness, right? Which is a consciousness that's bound and connected to multiple realities, right? This is why people would perceive you as a multidimensional consciousness or being. And why it's like that is because your infinite consciousness, your infinite authentic makeup, does that so it can increase and amplify its ability to convert experience into wisdom, to have experience. That's why we're here. To get to the heart of the experience, which means to learn from the experience, right? Which the word karma is associated to lesson, right? And that's why that's why people call bad karma, even though it's not bad. It's just bad karma is because you get the same lesson over and over again because you're not getting to the heart of the matter. You're not learning from it. And why it keeps coming back is it's giving you another opportunity to learn from it. That's why we're here, right? So we want to, and of course, the expression that's connected to that is to get to the heart of the matter, which means that you need to be in your own heart, in your own natural state, to perceive it as a lesson and to learn the lesson, to actually gain the purpose, the heart of the matter of the experience. Why you're having the experience, the purpose of the experience. The heart is required. The mind is not. The mind keeps you in the dark, right? Where you see the effect to the cause, but you can't see the bigger picture, because when we compartmentalize, when we break things into pieces, we lose our way because we don't know how all those pieces fit together, okay? And this is what my whole aspect of being a reality coach is, to step back, get into our natural space so we can see the bigger picture, not the parts, but the bigger picture, so we can know the cause to the effect, right? To understand it, to have purpose to every experience we have a purposeful life, because we came here with that purpose, to understand our experience, to learn from our experience that allows us to evolve as a consciousness, not a human, as a soul consciousness, because that's what you authentically are. So again, not all rings are the same. The qubit measure is vital, is very important. And all the qubit measures used at Truly Holistic with the tensor technology and the rings that we make are all about evolving you by facilitating more of you. It's not, it's not about energy. It's about your energy, because you have a unique energy signature, a signature that aligns with you because it's a makeup of who you are. Okay, so when people are in the mind, which then connect into a collective, a human collective, which is mind forged, what you're doing is you're absorbing more energy, but you're absorbing more energy that's not you. And that becomes discordant field, right? So many people are so focused on discordant field as Wi-Fi, 5G, and all these sorts of things. And I get it, it is. But you got to realize that's all human technology. But it was human technology that was guided to that person by the mind. And as I say, the mind's not you. So therefore it's a discordant field created by the mind. And as I say, we're powerful creators, we're powerful manifestors. And if we're manifesting out of mind, thought, mentality, then we're providing a state for ourselves that doesn't support us, doesn't support our environment. It does not align with nature. Okay, all those technologies I've just mentioned that do not align with nature were created by the human, guided by the mind, not the heart, not the soul. Okay, so we need you to be manifestors, creators, here, holding space here as what you authentically are. Not the human that was conditioned by the mind, but the soul that creates from the heart, creates out of love, because that's where love comes from. Love is not something that you lack. Love is what you are. Okay, so when you allow your heart to lead you, you get that heart open, you feel love, and that's you. Right? When somebody comes into your life that's special, and then all of a sudden, I'm falling in love, well, they've just triggered your ability to drop in your heart. Get out of the head and get in the heart, and you're facilitating something you already always had within you. Now you're just providing a pathway and network to allow it to come through, to be represented here. This is what ascension is, to represent everything that you are, because the mind is telling you about who you are, which isn't what you are. It's telling you about, it's interpreting your experience not by what is, but what it isn't. Okay, and we talk a lot about this in posts that's really holistic about, as I say, we're here to convert our experience into wisdom. And we need to be in our heart to see it. And the heart connects to all there is, and all there is the now. Okay, there's no such thing as the past or future. That's fabricated. It's an illusion by the mind to get you out of being self-aware in the present moment, because you need to be self-aware in the present moment to fulfill why you came here, right? To convert your experience into wisdom. And the thing is, why the mind wants that is because if you don't fulfill what you came here to do, then you'll come back again, which is called reincarnation. So the intelligence that comes through the mind, which is not you, understands the long game that, hey, if you don't fulfill what you came here to fulfill, well, you keep coming back here, and it keeps manipulating you to create reality for itself, not for you. Okay, we call this the game of duality, which is all part of my reality coaching. Now, if you don't know any of this stuff, you're already against it. Things are against you instead of in favor for you. This is why I facilitate this option of reality coaching as well as healing work, but also to self-empower you with technology, tensor rings that are not based on a specific or a static frequency, which is out of mind thought mentality, which is compartmentalization, but tools to get your heart open, to get your infinite consciousness, your infinite authentic self through. I was talking to someone about my tensor rings, and they replied and they go, yeah, I've already got tensor rings that I put over, because they asked a question about one of my products, which is called the Manifestation Trio set, which we call a tensor ring set that resets your timeline, right? And I'll explain what I mean by that in a minute, but they are very specific cubit measurements that make up that 3-ring set. And they just generically go, I've already got tensor rings I put over my heart and over my third eye. But the thing is, those tensor rings aren't associated to the heart and aren't associated to the third eye, right? The pineal gland, where the rings, the cubit measures that we use, right, for those rings in that manifestation trio set are. They're not just a tensor ring that provides a tensor field. They are directly relevant and connected to the role of the heart and then the role of the pineal and the third eye. They are specific to those particular parts of the body or passageways of your own consciousness. So it's not just about a tensor ring. As I say, it's about the cubit measure that aligns and associates with that specific role player, right? Which we're talking about, the third eye and your heart, which are your most important guides. And they are bound and connected to guiding you not through thought, not what is seen, but what is felt. Because our visible sight, we only see 0.0035% of reality, right? So we're greatly limited by that. And the mind uses that against you to keep you limited, right? For example, a mentality that everyone holds on to, seeing is believing. But obviously, that scientific stat that we see not even close to 1% reality will differ from that. It's not, seeing is not believing. Believing is then seeing, because what you believe is how you then use your manifestation power to create your experience. So really, believing is seeing, not seeing is believing, right? But the mind won't tell you that. So we need to get not into what we see. What gave us that was thought, which is the mind's domain. We need to connect into feel, which again is the domain of the heart, because there's no boundaries or limitations to what you feel. You feel everything. And again, this is also the role of the body. The body is a form of discernment. It communicates through symptoms what you feel, right? And why it's so important as a form of discernment, our own body, right? And the way we understand that, because again, out of mind, thought, mentality, we don't see it like that. When we get symptoms, we curse the body. Oh, stupid arm, or stupid pain in my knee, and so on. But really, it's communicating to get you back on track. The whole time it was. It's just we interpreted out of mind, thought, mentality, which doesn't connect with the body. Feel connects with the body, right? So, because the thing is, our body is predetermined by our auric field, our energy field, and because our eyes are so limited, we don't see the field. But this is where the body comes in. We feel the field through our body, through symptoms, right? And that's how you've got to interpret it. And I can help you with that. You just have to reach out for me. This is needed so much right now, right? And some of the tensor rings, these tensor rings are tools that are felt. They are heart-based tools, they are consciousness-based tools, they are quantum-based tools that are equipped to get you out of the mind. So I get people that come to me and they go, because they're thinking out of mind, thought, mentality, compartmentalization, and too complex with it. And the tools are about getting you out of that, not using that with the tools, okay? So it's, that timeline, the manifestation tree, why we call it timeline resetter is because, as I say, we're creators. Every moment we're making choices and decisions that create our experience, which is creating our path, our journey, our future, our timeline. And of course, what facilitates through the heart, right? What you authentically are as the soul wants to guide you to forge that path for you, right? To guide how you then use your attention, use your intention, which is how you apply your energy, to forge a path that we could perceive as fulfilling your purpose here, which people call ascension, right? People don't even see that as in that ascension in that way. But this is where the mind comes in, because the mind then steers your energy into off track, into creating different timelines and different paths. And those paths might be leading to an outcome that serves it, but doesn't serve you. It might be cancer. It might be high blood pressure. It might be all these sorts of things that don't connect to your desires, which we'll say is your heart's desire, because what you want in your life, right? Our desires are always associated to the word heart, because that's where you come from, okay? But you're not going to get your heart's desires if the heart's not leading how you apply yourself. If you allow, the kind of autopilot mode that we've been taught to use, our discernment, primarily as mind, thought, mentality, we're going to get what the mind wants. We're not going to get what our heart's desires. All right? This is very simple, very basic. It's the foundations of having a purposeful, fulfilling life, which includes not to come back here again, get recycled, reincarnated, right, to fulfill why you came here. But also, it's the same path that presents everything the body needs to rejuvenate, regenerate, and heal itself. Wellness, vitality. It's the same. And it's simplifying everything. It's not making things more complex. It's simplifying it. Very important to know that. Anyway, before I come on, I know we talked about a number of things there, but tensor technology, tensor rings, they are directly connected to my knowing and understanding of reality, how it's forged. And there's no one else that has it all mapped out. We've got an ascension map that maps it all out. That's associated to the measurements, the tensor rings that we provide are mapped out and directed to how you can ascend, how you can get well and vital. No one else has done that. No one that makes and creates tensor ring technology. It's a very unique, it's really holistic. And we can provide you with so much. And I've been doing this for years and years and years as an energy healer, as a reality coach, but also creating Tensor Technology. So make sure you go and check my products out, my product store at trulyholistic.net/products/. And if you'd like to book an appointment for either reality coaching or quantum essence healing, go to my appointment page, which is trulyholistic.net/appointments/. Till next time, catch you later.